nonsense, i.e. Einsteinian nonsense, bending of conceptual mediums, is the current nonsense, and the old nonsense is also nonsense, but superseded, nice word there, Anthony, by the current nonsense. So we're just pointing that out to our opponents, who are very, very slow on the uptake, given that this happened about 100 years ago.
So let's say if I got a bicycle, a motorized, just bicycle, pedaling, and I plug a little motor on it, boom, and it makes 50 miles an hour. And then there's also a scooter, a 50cc scooter, that also rides 50 miles per hour. So my bicycle is not a scooter, but I can think of it as a scooter because it does the same thing, the same effects and the same the method of transportation. So my bicycle is not a scooter, but I can think of it as a scooter. Yeah, that works.
Still isn't a scooter though, is it?
Maybe not.
Scooter, Jose.
It acts
Come
like
on,
a
man.
scooter, and everything works just as a scooter.
Yeah, the scooter and the bike do the same speed, but they're not the same vehicle.
It's a method of transportation. It takes me from point A to point B. I hop on it.
That's why there's two different names for it, right? That's why it's called one is called a scooter, the other one's called a motorcycle, right? Because they're not the same thing.
But you have to agree. You got to give me that one. Like I'm real in this.
Come on.
You're am I right or not?
Jose, why are you trying to get sympathy points, man? You can't do that, man.
Hold on. Sorry, somebody.
I know the cars are 50 miles an hour, by the way.
The scooter doesn't have pedals. The bicycle does. A bicycle has an extra function with a motor put on it. It's a bicycle with a motor. It's not a scooter with pedals.
Exactly the same, but it's the same function. It takes me from point A to point B. I have to balance it the same. I got to wing, it's the same speed, everything. So I can think of it as a scooter. I can put a big sticker and say it's my scooter.
Look, let's just agree and make the final conclusion, which is yes, you can think of it as a scooter.
You see this shit? It's fucking doing it itself. Unfucking believable.
But it isn't.
I just did diagnostics on this.
Can I just give a word of warning for you, Jose?
Dr. Pepper is Coke, but
I just did diagnostics on this phone and it was fine. I go on YouTube and the fucking phone, I'm holding it in my hand, not touching the screen at all. And even if I set it down on a fucking countertop, it's fucking moving on itself and doing all sorts of shit as I'm screen recording right now. It's doing that.
you can't think as Coke as Dr. Pepper.
Jose, you know, if you're gonna think of your scooter that it's a motorcycle, can I give you a respectful word of warning if you think of something that's not actually what it really is?
Yeah, please.
And I'm gonna stick it on screen, Nathan. If you put it on so that Jose can see it.
Sure.
The definition for the word delusional states that characterized by holding idiosyncratic beliefs or impressions that are contradicted by reality or rational argument, typically as a symptom of a mental disorder. Specifically that bit where it says beliefs or impressions that are contradicted by reality. So I would say that if you think that you're riding a scooter but really you're on a push bike, that's contradicted by reality, isn't it? Because it's not really a scooter, is it?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Shout out to JC Masters 100 in the...
What 10th man's getting at is you can think of it as though you had tags, but you still lost your license.
You see what they're getting at here? Do you guys understand that? People are using the word science. They're throwing it around as this almighty powerful word, coupled with the word gravity. In order to have science, it has to be testable, verifiable, repeatable. There are certain procedures that you just don't get around. It is the way it is, and you don't have to fucking like it. That's science. Gravity, you cannot test it. You cannot repeat it. You cannot verify it. And just as an interesting side note, just recently, the entire world of scientists, all the scientific community of the entire world, now are refuting Newtonian laws. So they're saying Newton was wrong. Again, you don't have to like it. Deal with it.
even though you thought you had, and you could think of it as having, you didn't, so you lost your license.
Amen.
I just hope that you correct Rumpus next time he comes in and says that gravity, or anybody for that matter of fact, if anybody comes in claiming gravity to be a force and it can cause things like sticky atmospheres and sticky oceans and tides, I hope you'll correct them and say it's not really a force though, is it? Because we all know it's not a force. You'd have to be delusional to think it was a force when we know reality states that it's not a force, because that's what the current science tells us.
You don't correct him.
But I suck at.
I'm sorry. You don't correct him. You horse tranquilize him and institutionalize him. And Jose retard. It's a force, but you can think of it as a force. Is a law of identity violation. Clown show. Go back to your friggin' hole with your other knucklehead retards.
What I was going to say before John interrupted and ad hominem me and insulted me, and then now tried to talk over me before I even get to
Brian Peckerwood.
Okay, go ahead.
That idiot Drust the Legend. I caught him 2 years ago in a comment thread and ripped him around by his friggin' pseudo-intellectual short hairs. He's a clown, too. Also, that Dean idiot, he still has some business over here to take care of. Like Ranty's 18-mile observation, he needs to model that. You idiots!
Okay,
and then he's on there yesterday. He's on there yesterday showing how the moon's shadow, can be smaller than its own diameter on a friggin' computer program. Like some friggin'... I couldn't believe it, and everyone's agreeing with him. Oh yeah, that's so great, Dean. Are you friggin' retarded?
Was it the scale, John?
Damn, I wanted to round up the previous point, and then I really gotta go in a second. Then give me 10 seconds.
Yeah, you better go.
Show me any picture of a shadow being smaller than its own diameter. You can make it bigger. Show me anything that shows a shadow smaller than its own diameter. If the moon is a quarter of the size of the Earth, listen, I'm sorry for your retardation. But if it's a quarter of the size of the Earth, 33% and something, okay, that means that moon has to be casting a shadow thousands of kilometers across. Thousands. Does it do that when there's a full eclipse? Or do you see a little 7-mile strip? Sorry for your retardation.
It's time for you. It's getting late early for you.
Are you gonna let me speak, John? Like, I've been very polite and very nice, and you came in hot.
You know what's happening.
But like today, I'm mellow, I'm calm, and John came in hot, just calling me retard and stuff. I don't want to engage him. I just want to round up my
how you are, retard. There's a big difference. Do you know what the law of identity is?
My final thought before I go.
Do you know what the law of identity is?
Just say your final thoughts.
Yeah, but he's gonna keep talking over me.
He's asking you a question. He's asking if you know what a law of identity violation is.
I'm sorry, was that a question to me?
Yeah, he's tried about 3 or 4 times to ask you if you know what a law of identity violation is.
Is that like calling
I can't answer that after I make my previous point because I don't want to.
Sorry.
When you tell me Sleeping Water, when Rumpus make this point about gravity being a force and me correcting him, that's why I really wanted to say this. I cannot either argue against or in favor of it for crap because I suck at explaining things and try to coherently explain my points. I need like freaking 10 minutes to try to structure the sentence together in my brain. It's really tough on me. I started learning English really late and I cannot argue or defend.
It's funny how coherent you were then when you were saying how you couldn't do it.
No, exactly.
Well, keep doing it on your own. Just go ahead. Oh, can't even get my screen on now. Isn't that nice? Oh.
Because I'm taking my time kind of slow, but when it's a specific point with using words, because if I throw a word in the wrong spot, it's gonna change the content completely. So when I'm in the rush try to get a sentence out, I can't.
Well, if you'd allow me, Jose.
I think I can summarize this for Jose. He just
Jose, if you just allow me, just all you got to say, Jose, is gravity's not a force. End of sentence. That's it.
No, you know what? I'll be happy to say that when I listen to the interview on myself, on content, previews, and before the statement, because that's what I mentioned before. I cannot either accept or deny it until I personally listen to it. And instead of listening to your side, to interpretation or their interpretation, I'm neither here or there. I haven't listened to myself. So how am I going to defend a point when I don't know what the point is in content?
Your interpretation. Get one of your fleet of slobber nurses to interpret it for you.
Just don't get rumpus. Right. He struggles with the word
"and." They interpret it for me. I'm just saying, gravity is a force. That's why I'm not either near or there, because I hear two sides of the story, but I haven't listened to myself.
Yeah. Well, you sure have many opinions on your show, though, don't you? Can you tell us how astronauts? Can you tell us something? How astronauts? I'm going to have a show on this too. How a number of different groups of astronauts can say that when they're out in space, that it's a palpable black void, while others, they say it's so bright you can hardly freaking see. Please reconcile those two statements for us, Jose.
Yeah, there are like 5 or 6 hours of the content talking about that specific point in another channel.
I cannot explain it
to your retard. 1 minute or 30 seconds. 6 hours of content.
Yeah, 6 hours of friggin' nonsensical buffoonery. This could be evaluated by an incoherent second grader in less than a minute. You got 6 hours. You should go visit that Steve McQuay clown and the Clan McClowns, who had a 4-hour hangout trying to figure out what atheist meant. And at the end, they still didn't know. That's the group you belong. In fact, you're a rung below them. And where's your other retards? Like I said, bring them on over here. That friggin' toady idiot liar that we exposed not that long ago, he's one. Drust the Legend, where'd you get that friggin' clown from? Right? I whipped him around by his intellectual short hair a long time ago. But then where's Dean?
Get back to an actual question instead of...
Why don't you bring Dean over here with that computer program?
Can I address the point of bringing other people in? Can I please, John asked me a question or please ask me for something. I want to answer that. I mean, if this is the way it's gonna go down, many of the people doesn't want to come in. I'm very patient. I just sit in the background. Sometimes I come in hard and I start insulting. Today, I'm just calm. I just came to sit and listen. But do you think these people is gonna come in to sit in the hangout and let you insult them and call them names?
No, I'll tear them apart. I'm gonna tear their arguments apart.
It's not gonna happen, bro.
I'm gonna tear their arguments apart, you little fucking weasel, you. That's what I'm gonna do.
And just to recap, I'm not disrespected.
Shut up, Arwen.
One time, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, and I will
Get your ass out of here, you retard.
Get high. On my pride of...
Get your ass out of here, you
I'm gonna walk out with my forehead
Go back to your own hole.
Because I was...
Wait, I got a question for Jose.
And I was very...
Don't worry about your question,
Everybody
get out of here.
We're fucking sick of you fucking globe-tard fucking so-called scientists adjusting your ties, looking down your fucking noses at us. All you are is a bunch of fucking ignorant fucking sellouts, and you know nothing of fucking truth, and you were picked to be a scientist for that type of activity because you are that fucking stupid and would believe that without question, because the cash started flowing and you started losing your fucking brains. You fucking retarded fucking zombies.